What is up, YouTube? This is Rattlehead coming at you guys once again with another video, this time focusing on Mortal Kombat 11. The purpose for this video will be to go over my top 10 expectations for Mortal Kombat 11 from a blind gamer's perspective. I will cover things such as sound cues and other features that were introduced beginning in Mortal Kombat X onwards. So, before I begin, I would like to remind you guys to feel free to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, hit that notification bell for notifications, and if you have any comments or curiosities about some of the things that I talk about, feel free to give a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. So without further ado, let's begin. And as a side note, you will be hearing my screen reader in the background reading my points as we go along so we can keep up. Also, notice that the music of the game has been turned down to further illustrate the sounds that I will be referencing throughout the video. So without further ado, let's begin. So here are the 10 expectations that I would like to see in Mortal Kombat 11 from a gamer such as myself who has a visual impairment. Number 1.
2, 3, 2, blank. 1. The return of unique sounds for characters in select screen.
The return of unique sounds for characters in the select screen, right? What this refers is basically each character on the select screen has a unique sound that lets you know that is the character when being highlighted. As an example, let's look at Scorpion. Or rather, let's listen to Scorpion. If you highlight the character, you can actually hear his fire as he walks towards the screen. Or, in this case, Sub-Zero. There he goes. So, obviously I was talking about Scorpion this whole time, and it turns out that I'm on Sub-Zero. How funny is that? So, Scorpion now. There he goes. There's his fire aura. Kitana. There he goes. You can hear her fans. And Kenshi. The blind swordsman himself. Hey, a blind character. This is great. You can hear his swords clearly letting you know that that's Kenshi. Of course, if you once you memorize the sounds, then it's easy to recognize each character. So this is a really, really good feature that I hope returns in Mortal Kombat 11. It will allow me to browse through all of the characters and find out where their locations are, which will make it easier for me to memorize their positions on the select screen. Number 2. On this one, let me go ahead and pick the characters to talk about my next point.
Scorpion. Quan Chi.
Let's go to the Jinsei chamber. Okay. As soon as training mode begins, you hear this sound. That sound actually is referring to the meter build. So whenever a character builds bar, this would allow us to determine if I'm building meter, or if I have 1 bar, 2 or 3 bars of meter. As my second point says,
2. The return of the meter build sound when character builds 1 bar of meter.
so the return of sound of characters meter build, basically. So to show this example, let's say if I do, I'm gonna press the reset button so you can hear the sound again. If I do a meter burn, leg takedown from Scorpion, and I'll press the reset button because the game begins with the 1 bar of meter and then it builds up as we go. So I'm gonna do it and then I'll press the reset button so you can hear the sound. See, you actually heard it, right? Like as soon as the move was over, you can actually hear it. There it is, see? So that happens every time we build meter. So as a competitive player like myself, I want to know if I'm building meter or if my opponent is building meter, because what the beauty about this thing is that depending on which side of the screen you are, the sound of the meter build also follows that same pattern. In this case, you can hear the meter if you have headphones on. You can hear it on the left speaker because Scorpion is on the left side. However, if he happens to be on the right side, let's see. So it's because the character is always on the left side, you're always going to hear it on the left side. But if you're player 2, you hear the sounds on the right side. Even if the characters are on the left or right side, it's very, very useful. So that's meter build. Number 3.
3. The return of armor sound when character gets hit during an armored move.
This was actually introduced in Mortal Kombat X. The return of armor sounds when a character is hit during an armor move. So I picked Quan Chi because he has armor power that he uses. I think it's Dark Curse, that's the move if I'm not mistaken. That when you hit any character that has armor, you hear this ding noise that tells you that that person or the character was hit during an armored move. So in order to illustrate this, I'm gonna summon his move. Let me record the character. And I'm gonna summon his armor move, power or circle, and I'll press a button with Scorpion to hit him, and you'll hear this ding noise to let me know that, hey, he has armor going on. Okay, so it's been recorded. Let me stop it. Now, to this. That sound lets me know that the character threw a move that is armored, and if I try to reverse or do anything, then the character basically has been protected by armor, and he can, like, you know, pretty much take over from there. So, and what's great about it is some characters actually have armor moves in which there's 2 hits of armor, so you'll hear that noise twice. So it's great for, you know, to let me know that, hey, this character just threw an armor move and you try to do something, but it's gonna backfire on you now. So let's check it one more time. Oops. There it is. That's the move. That's the sound. That's the sound. It was even noticeable by a lot of tournament players. During tournaments, people would say, hey, you know, there's the armor, you just heard the sound. So it's so cool that, you know, even high-level tournament players notice this too. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so that's number 3. Next topic.
4. The return of sound panning of characters relative to their position on screen.
This is very important. And this is actually going to happen, but I just figured I'd point it and include it in my list anyway. The return of the panning of sound of characters in relation to their position on screen, right? What that means, if you had headphones on, is you can actually hear Quan Chi, his noise coming out on the right side of the screen, of the speakers, your right speaker, and Scorpion, all of his moves, grunts or anything coming out on the left speaker. So because Quan Chi's standing on the right side where he summoned his spell, you can actually hear the sound of the spell on the right side, as well as Quan Chi's noises whatever he makes on the right side, and Scorpion on the left side. See? And Scorpion is on the left side. Ha. See? See, even the fire aura gets that hit of armor. Wow, okay, so there he goes. This is very important because it helps me to determine that position on screen. However, remember, I can teleport and Scorpion sounds will now be heard on the right side. Now Scorpion's on the right side. Visually, obviously, most of you can tell that, you know, the character is now on the right side. Sound-wise, I can tell that I'm on the right side. So again, if you had headphones on, then you will be able to distinguish all of these sounds. So that's it. This is very important. But like I said, NetherRealm Studios has been doing this since Mortal Kombat 9. It's the reason why I was able to play Mortal Kombat 9 at a high level, and I was able to attend Evo because of this feature that allowed me to be able to follow every action of the characters. Whether it was accidental, they just wanted to better their sound quality, it worked out for me. So kudos to the sound team at NetherRealm Studios. Next topic, number 5.
5. Announcing stages when selecting them. Much.
Okay, this is very important. I'm going back to the select screen. So every time you pick a stage, your character, obviously it says the name of the character.
Scorpion. Quan Chi.
However, when you hit the stages, I would not know which stages are if it wasn't for the fact that somebody out there took the time to write all of the menus, and I was able to memorize the position of the stages on the screen. This helped me tremendously to pick one of my favorite stages, which is the pit at the top right here. If you guys can see, I went up and it says the pit. I went down, it's the default. Like, see, I even forgot which one it was. But I can pick, stages like that based on their positions because I memorized it. But if somehow they made it where they could allow us to know which stages are vocally, like the voice saying something, then that'll be great. However, there is a feature that I do want to talk about from a specific console that I think will be way beneficial to players like myself if NetherRealm Studios decided to include it. So stages, yeah, it goes gonna be in relation to this. So obviously I don't know where I am anymore. I got distracted, and so I don't know, which stage I'm gonna pick. This might be the pit. So that's very important. It will be nice for us to find a way so they can let us know. Like in Injustice 2, you have the stage. Once you pick the stage, though, it tells you like fighters approaching Atlantis or something. But I mean, you already picked the stage. I have no idea that that's what I did. So that will be something nice to keep up with. So again, that's sort of goes back to my point number 10, which again, stick around and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's move on. Number 6.
6. The return of unique sound when using a bar of meter to enhance a special.
So on this one, unfortunately, I cannot show it in here. I can only show what doesn't happen.
Scorpion. Quan Chi.
The return of unique sounds when using a bar of meter during a move, right? Basically, MK9 and Injustice 1 had this unique tone, like a low tone, that whenever I actually did an enhanced move, it came out before the actual move came out on screen to let me know, hey, I just did an enhanced move, or my opponent did an enhanced move, so I know that they used a bar of meter. So that helps me to keep track of their meter as well. In MKX, we don't have that. See, there's no sound indicating that there was a move that was enhanced. There's no sound to it. It's just regular. Before, it was like a low tone. I do not have a sample of the sound. But if you play MK9 and listen to like when you meter burn a move, or not meter burn, but you burn a bar of, like an enhanced move, there's actually a tone that lets you know, that's an enhanced move. On this one, there isn't. So I have to guess if the person, if they're using Scorpion and they meter burn this move, I would probably, if I didn't know better, I would let go of block, and the second hit of that meter burn enhanced teleport will hit me, and then for a full combo punish. The other issue will be if they teleported, and let's say I blocked it. If I assume that they did a meter burn, an enhanced move, I keep saying meter burn, an enhanced move, then I will lose that opportunity to punish that move that was not even enhanced at all. But again, there's no sound to indicate that. So that was kind of an issue in MKX a little bit. But I mean, so a lot of times it's kind of like another 50-50 for me. In addition to the game filled with 50-50s everywhere, so that was a little kind of hard to deal with. But eventually, I just learned to kind of cope with it. But it will be nice for that to return. All right. So next topic.
7. Increase the default sound volume and footsteps when characters walk or run across the screen.
So this one's actually really cool because when I turn the music down, it says to increase the default footsteps of characters when they are running or walking or running across the screen.
6. 7.
So this is really cool. Okay, so again, listen carefully to when the character walks across the screen. You can actually hear it. Let me go all the way to the end of the screen. You can hear that. However, if you have the music on, like if you want to enjoy the soundtrack, it's not loud enough. So the music overpowers it. And so it would be nice if I can have the soundtrack, loud enough, but also have the footsteps increased, further. In Injustice 2, they did increase it a little bit, so that was really nice. However, if they can increase it more like the default settings in MK11, that will be great. So once again, let's hear it. Again, headphones are the best experience for this kind of video. So he's walking, right? You can hear it. You guys can see it, obviously. But for those us who can't see and play this game, you can hear it. So it helps you to keep track of it. The other thing is when they run. So if run returns in MK11, I would like them to increase the volume for the running characters. So I'm gonna make the character run and you can hear it running. That is great. So most of the times you guys see my videos and I have the music up, turned up pretty loud all the way up. Well, that's because, I like to fight with the soundtrack. Without the music, it does feel kind of dead to me. Like right now, if I was to have matches like this, I need music. But the running, if they can increase the volume of the footsteps, that would be great because you can hear this whenever the music is turned up all the way. So that's something that I would like to happen in Mortal Kombat 11. So all right, so that's it for that one. Number
8. The return of
8.
8. The return of sound cues for interactables on.
The return for sound cues of interactables on stages. So this was actually introduced in Injustice 1. And of course, thanks to NetherRealm Studios for that, because I requested it and they implemented it in Injustice 1. So kudos to those guys for actually listening to me on that, which caught me by surprise. It was really awesome. So sound cues. Okay. So whenever, let me go to the stage that I know, which is the Jinsei chamber.
Scorpion. Quan Chi.
Okay. So what happens every time I'm near an interactable, you can actually hear a little tone going on to let me know that I'm near interactable and I can use it. So if I push the character near that object, there'll be a tone that you guys can hear. Let's see. There it is. Hear that note? Oh, that tone? That lets me know that I can do that. Use the interactable. So let's find the other one on the left side. There it is. So, same thing. I can use the interactable because I was notified by that sound that I'm near it, Now, the only thing that this one had was it didn't have a different pitch for the right character on the right and for the character on the left. Injustice 1 had it where left player, the sound was lower in terms of the tone, and the right player had a tone a little higher, so you can distinguish each character standing by the interactable. And whenever both characters stood by it, you can actually hear both tones at the same time to let you know, hey, both of you guys are near the environmental object. So that was a really really nice feature. I know it was pretty basic for a lot of people, but to me it was good because I was trying to be in the competitive scene and I wanted to be part of, using interactable combos and everything like that. So that was pretty, it was great. But of course, there always can be improvement. So now I'm on the left side of the screen and there's interactable there as well. So when in this game, I was able to get out of pressure situations with the armor move using the interactable because I could tell by the sound, and I could also tell by the characters that we were on the left side also. So this worked out really well. Okay, so that's interactables. That's number 8. Number 9. Let's do this.
9. Remove ramp menus when selecting variations.
Okay, this is very important. So I guess it's just because of the way the games are designed now. They do it where the menus basically just go around in circles. Think of it that way. If I was to select Scorpion, right?
Scorpion.
Basically, I can move. There's no end or beginning of the menus to let me know, okay, this is the first option, second option, third option. I could be doing it wrong right now. But I would like for them to have it like back in the old school Mortal Kombat games, where basically you start at a certain point and you end up at a certain point. So basically, I don't want the menus to wrap the way they do. So because I
Scorpion.
memorized the characters and I memorized the variations, then I know for a fact where things are located. Again, just to memorizing things. So for example, with Scorpion, I
Scorpion.
know that the ninjutsu variation is the middle one as soon as I click Scorpion, but then you have um, the Hellfire variation, and then you have the Inferno variation. But again, because of memorizing the menus on my own, so this most of this stuff again is gonna fit back to what I'm gonna be talking about on my number 10 option. So, but at least if they can somehow make it where it doesn't wrap like that, then that will be great. So we have a beginning and an end on the menus. Starting on the left side, if I push left, nothing happens. And if I move right, okay, I move to the next option, and I move to the right, as to the third option. And if I press, you know, again, then nothing happens. So that will be great. But again, we don't know what kind of variations will be in the game. If it's gonna be, you can choose moves or actually fighting styles or whatever. But as long as they don't wrap, that will be great. It will be easier to manage. So that's it.
10. Console specific.
This one, number 10, is console specific.
9. 10. Console specific. The inclusion of in-game text being recognized by Xbox's narrator.
The inclusion of in-game text recognized by Xbox narrator feature. So I'm going to get out of the game and I'm gonna show you guys something that I recently discovered. Well, because I didn't even know about it. Let me turn narrator on.
Starting narrator. Dialogue. Do you want to yes, don't ask again. Guide for OBS Rattlehead window. Horizontal system actions. My games and apps. Button. 1 of 3.
Okay, so let me turn off this game.
Home. Button. Recent. Mortal Kombat X. Press
I'm
Mortal
gonna show
Kombat
you
X
guys
window.
something
Add to
really,
home.
really
Add
cool.
to manage game and add official club. Quit. Button. Official club. Quit. Button. Guide for OBS Rattlehead window. Recent. Mortal Kombat X. Press menu button for more options. Button. 1. Settings. Press menu button for more options. Button. Settings window. Ease of access. 11 of 11. Selected. Narrator. 1 of 7. Game transcription. 6 of 7.
So there's this option here called game transcription. What that is, and I'm not gonna click on it right now due to the fact that I have to
Notification from social. Ian Hamilton 0 and is online. Go to the guide to open.
All right, some people online. Due to the fact that I have to put in my password to get into those options, but transcription essentially means that any game that is allowed by the developers, Xbox is willing to work with them to include this feature where if I'm browsing the menus, it will be reading the game menus like the way it's reading the menus on the Xbox dashboard right now. So game transcriptions just I would add that much accessibility to the games. And guys, when I talk about accessibility, I do not mean dumb down your games. A lot of people have a misconception of accessibility. For us, accessibility simply means making your games available to us blind players, where we can play it similar to everybody else around us. That's all it means. So, especially to developers, don't think that accessibility is gonna affect your games where you have to tone it down or make it so easy. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, I compete, you know, I play with a lot of really good players at a decent level. So therefore, you don't need to tone down your games or think of accessibility as, again, dumbing down your games. It just means having better access to features that are already there in the game with, with additional resources. In this case, with Xbox's narrator. So as you can see right now, if I'm browsing,
Narrator, 1 of 7.
it's telling me what's on the screen.
Ease of access, 11 of 11, selected. Disc and Blu-ray, 10 of 11, selected. TV and 1 guide, 9 of 11, selected.
So for us blind gamers, imagine if we could browse the game of Mortal Kombat, which has the options of single player, multiplayer, online, factions, the crypt, and things like that. And it would be great if the narrator was able to access those menus, especially in Mortal Kombat 11. If right off the bat we can get into the game and say we start browsing and we start hearing the menus read out loud in this way, such as our Xbox is doing right now with the system and everything.
Home window, resume, button. Recently used, my games and apps, button.
So
1 of 4.
it will be great. For example, if I want to look for Mortal Kombat X, I'll go in my recents.
Suggested apps block, reset, resume, button. Recently used, my games and apps, button.
So you have recently used. I
1
want
of
to go
4.
to the guide menu.
Guide for OBS
It
Rattlehead
needs
window,
everything.
guide tab, horizontal system actions, my games and apps, button. Recent, settings, press menu button for more options, button. Mortal Kombat X, press menu button for more options, button. 2 of 5.
Okay, so I'm just scrolling down like any of you guys who are visual, and I have access to everything, right there. It's reading it to me. I know when to select something because it's right there. So if games like fighting games such as Mortal Kombat would include this feature in their game, or not include it but allow narrator to access the game text, in-game text in their game through narrator, it will be a huge game changer. This will mean I would have better access to the training mode, um, to the online features when you go to the rooms, make King of the Hill, and all those things that everybody else has, without me having to go to somebody and say, hey, I'm looking for this room. Can you read it to me as I'm browsing to find out which one it is? So this will be a huge game changer. So again, thank you guys
Home window, recently
for
used, my games
watching
and
this.
apps,
That was
button.
my number
1 of
10
4.
option.
Suggested apps block, block recently used, my games and apps. Suggested apps block, resume, button.
Okay, so again, that was my top 10 expectations. That's what I would like to see in Mortal Kombat 11. If you guys have any questions, any comments, or anything that I talked about, please do not hesitate to comment below. Again, if you want to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, on my Twitch channel, feel free to click on those links that I'll be putting on the description down below. So hopefully you guys learned something from this. And if I missed something from my fellow blind players, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm open to suggestions. Any mistakes that I make, I always like to acknowledge them so I can improve my videos. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. This has been Rattlehead. We'll see you guys next time.
Ops 2, studio, stop recording checkbox.